Jordan Scott has a final three. This is a sought-after recruit for your program. Michigan State, Maryland, Virginia Tech are the final three. We've talked about Jordan Scott. There is a full video breakdown of his game from a couple months ago on the Sleepers channel. You can go watch that right now. But this is a good update for you. Winnable recruitment, I think. 3 teams, 2 from the DMV area, which is relevant because he is a DMV kid. But I haven't heard much on Jordan Scott recently. I saw DK tweeted about him. I'll pull up his tweet and read that on the show here in just a minute. But since we talked about him months ago, I really haven't heard much about him. He's a 4-star small forward in the class of 2025, 6'5" rising senior. And I know Michigan State seems like they've been prioritizing him a little bit. So what's the update on Jordan Scott? How do you perceive this final three?
So I always felt like this was a winnable recruit and felt good about it just because of the time that Coach Izzo has put into Jordan Scott. There was a time where I thought that Coach Izzo spent more time in Jordan Scott's family's living room than he's actually spent in East Lansing for a good amount of time there early in the summer. I think he's really honed in on wanting Jordan Scott, and I think he's done everything to get him as far as being at every game. He's at every game that Jordan Scott plays. He visiting him at his high school. He's visiting him at his home, taking pictures with his family. He's got a chance to watch them play a lot of times. Michigan State, he mentioned being from the Maryland area that, obviously he's going to Maryland games. He's had a chance to kind of watch Michigan State. And he seems like a big Coach Izzo guy, which I think bodes well for us, given the fact that he's up against the coaches of Virginia Tech and Maryland. So I feel really good about this. And look, I think Jordan Scott he's a good player. I think he can shoot the ball well. I think there's another level to his game that could be reached with some player development. But I think the tools are there.
I like his game. I don't have any crazy Jordan Scott takes. Like I think he's good. The biggest thing that has changed for me, or at least like is noticeable in the recent film that I've watched of him versus other things, is that his jumper looks really good. And I didn't feel that the last time we talked about him. Like,
Yeah, I thought I don't know, like if something I watched wasn't it or something like that, but like I was never like, oh man, that kid's got a jumper, which
yeah.
I kind of changed on that, like you said.
Yeah, and credit to DK. Here's DK's tweet last night, but he quote tweeted Tipton's announcement of the final three and said, "Priority wing target for MSU. Staff has visited him multiple times this summer, including an in-house visit with his family early in the cycle. His perimeter jumper has come a long way in a year. Rangy, lengthy athlete who has pro upside when he grows into his fame." I agree with all that. The the shot felt like the swing piece, and it feels like the shot's already way better than it was a month ago or a couple months ago. So like it, there's not a lot to dislike with Jordan Scott the player right now. He is definitely a 4-star type, not a 5-star. Like what do you think holds him back from being the best of the best type high school recruit?
I just don't think he like right now. I don't know. One is his body's not there. And look, I think he should be a higher 4-star, but to me, the stuff that holds him back is I think he plays a little bit frail, in my opinion. I think he has the ability, he has the not the knack, but he tends to get knocked off his spot. I'm not. I think there's a long way to go on the other end of the floor, and also just what he can do off the dribble and creation wise. Um, because I think he's kind of singularly a player right now in his skill set, but he could expand it. But yeah, I think he's definitely a 4-star type, piece type. Like I think Jordan Scott would be a good piece to get in the fold for 2025, and then you try to lock down some other bigger targets.
Do you think Michigan State should feel great about this? Because obviously it's a winnable recruitment. I'm not saying Virginia Tech and Maryland are like world beaters or anything here, but there are some connections beyond just like he's from there.
Yes, his mom went to Maryland's alum, and I believe she's a broadcaster for Maryland.
My interpretation has been, I think, pretty much this entire time, Maryland is the leader here and the team to beat. I don't think that's changed. Now, Tom Izzo could come steal this, but do you think my pulse on that is the accurate reading here or no?
I'm gonna say it's accurate because I haven't heard otherwise.
Okay.
But also at the same time, like, come on. Like, I get it. She's an alum. But also, like, come on, Tom. It's Kevin Willard, dog. Kevin
Yeah.
Willard.
He drinks a
Kevin
lot of
Willard.
coffee.
It's Kevin Willard.
Just keep saying that over. Is that the pitch? Like Sadi's going to show up to his doorstep and just be like, "Hey, can I come in?" Kevin Willard.
Instead of that bald fraud, what about me? A bald winner.
Kevin Willard.
Ooh,
Kevin Willard. Kevin
Kevin Willard.
Willard.
Kevin Willard,
Kevin
dog.
Willard.
Like it.
Kevin Willard.
I mean, it's Kevin Willard.
Who wins this recruitment cart? Kevin Willard.
Kevin Willard.
Kevin Willard.
No, Michigan State for real though.
I think it's Kevin Willard. I think Maryland's going to get him. And I also I don't think Michigan State should sweat it that much if they don't get him. And I don't mean that as disrespect to him, but y'all have a lot of really young, talented wings right now. This is like a credit to the past couple classes you've built. But like, I believe in Kurtang a lot, and he's going to be here multiple years. I believe in Jace Richardson a lot, and he's going to be here multiple years. I believe in Garrick Normand a lot, and he's going to be here multiple years. Trey Holloman still has another year. So like, with all due respect, I don't view Jordan Scott as a guy who would be on the floor early for you at all. I don't know that he would for Maryland either. I still like him long term, but like this recruitment feels like one of the like Jaden Shoot, Isaac Trout ones to me. Now I know Shoot got scooped up by a blue blood. That's not going to happen here, but it feels like, oh, it's Michigan State's priority. And then in hindsight, we're like, that guy wasn't actually that much of an impact guy. Maybe we shouldn't have sweat losing that guy so much. That's sort of how I feel about Jordan Scott.
Yeah, I say this respectfully. I feel the same way you do, but I think Jordan Scott's like one of those like recruiting kind of, I don't want to call him a recruiting layup because we're not the favorite, but like if we're still Michigan State, I feel like we should be able to get guys like Jordan Scott.
Yeah, for sure. Now, if you get him, I think you celebrate it and you're very happy and he's a great prospect.
And I would also like the ability to like do this whole like let's get wings that are wing size things. Because
Yeah.
like Norman and those guys are like 6'4". Like give me a wing that's 6.
Norman's bigger than Jordan Scott, is he?
I don't think so.
I think Norman's bigger than you think. Let's check that real quick.
I don't know. He does have a mullet. But like Kurtang is 6'4".
Garrett Norman's 6'5", 190. I think that's exactly what Jordan Scott is.
Is he? I thought Jordan Scott was 6'7".
Jordan Scott is 6'5", 165.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, okay then.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, again, I don't think anyone should sweat this one if you don't get him. If you do get him, it's like you're happy for sure. And it's a win. But there's a rather large difference to me between like Michigan State's priority recruitment here versus the prioritization of a guy like Xavier Booker a couple years ago. Like Xavier Booker has like real pro upside and is like a big time swing piece for the program. That needs to work out. Jordan Scott's just like happy to have you here if you come. Calling him a priority recruitment is weird to me. Like I know they've put the work in, but it's one of those ones where like I almost wish they had been putting work in on like the Trey McKennies of the world.
Yeah,
they have been doing that.
But that's not happening from what I heard too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is happening there?
Not us, possibly you guys.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't heard that at all. I'm gonna have to call you and get the scoop. All right. Good luck to the 3 schools recruiting Jordan Scott. Car, you know what I love about you?
That I'm handsome?
You're reliable. I can count on you. You know, honestly, you remind me of Aaron Henry a little bit. Remember when like, you know, their back was against the wall, nothing was going right, and man just showed up every day. He didn't make excuses. There were no problems. There were just solutions.
Sounds like me.
That's you. And it also reminds me of Duncan Mechanical Solutions, because if you're looking for quality furnace repair, look no further than the heating and air experts that you can trust. Comfort and quality are their standard. They're an HVAC company that serves Northeast Indiana and Southern Michigan, whether it's heating and air conditioning, plumbing, kitchen and bath remodeling, or emergency services when you need them most. Duncan Mechanical Solutions has reliable service that you can count on. Cart, remember when your basement almost exploded?
I remember when my basement almost exploded. I remember when my furnace itself was acting funny. I remember when my AC was acting funny. I wish I had Duncan in my back pocket. I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been anywhere in northern Indiana or southern Michigan that hasn't been perfectly cool or perfectly warm, depending on when the day called for. And that's because of Duncan Mechanical Solutions. They are the presenting sponsor for the month of July. Shout out to Duncan Mechanical Solutions. Go to duncanmechanicalsolutions.com to learn more.